Hello everyone, I'm Dan Philgreen, and this is Shell Point Today for Tuesday, September 24th. On today's show, Tim Stephenson previews a Q&A session he's offering in the Academy tomorrow. We'll also talk with Terry Bauer of Finemark Bank, who will tell us about total return investing. But first, let's get a Tuesday news update from Rochelle Chernowski at the news desk. Rochelle.
Thank you very much, Dan. Well, folks, we are still shaking out the bugs of the digital TV system, and we want to keep you informed when we learn about any pertinent information. Today's tip relates to people that own TiVo recorders or are thinking about purchasing one. We just discovered that the newest TiVo brand, called the Romeo, is not compatible with Shell Point's TV system, so don't spend your money on that one. However, there are several models of TiVo that work just fine. So if you are considering a TiVo, be sure to call the call center at 454-2190 to make sure you have the right information about which TiVo models work at Shell Point. So it seems the only truly reliable source of entertainment is the written word. Books can never go in and out of lip sync. That's why we're celebrating today with Library Book Talk, happening this afternoon at 2:15 in the Social Center. Today's featured book is called The Elephant Whisperer by Lawrence Anthony, who spent time in Africa trying to protect this noble species. Our reviewer is Jane Hanks of Junonia. All are welcome for discussion and refreshments at Library Book Talk today at 2:15 p.m. in the Social Center on the island. Now tomorrow we have a Legacy Foundation event that is kind of a potpourri or a hodgepodge, and they're calling it a potpourri or hodgepodge. It's a chance to ask Tim Stephenson anything you like. Sign up for this class tomorrow at 10 a.m. in the Grand Cypress Room. Here is a preview.
Hello everyone, I'm here today with Timothy Stephenson, Executive Director of our own Legacy Foundation here at Shell Point. And we're talking about the first Legacy Seminar in the fall session of the Academy. Thanks for joining me, Tim.
Thank you.
I love that you're going to give people a little bit of time with Timothy Stephenson this time. We really don't do that very often.
Most of the time, I bring in someone else to speak about things that I think are important to the residents of Shell Point. And I do have a special surprise guest this time, but I wanted a time to just talk through the questions that I receive on a regular basis. When we do a monthly seminar, there's always a response device. And we get a number of questions in on those response devices, and I want to take time to address those. In addition to that, I have people stop me along the way or call the office, and they'll ask me about this or that, and it gives me an opportunity. If I hear the same kind of question over and over, I think maybe there's general interest. And so we're going to do kind of a potpourri or a hodgepodge of questions that I have been asked recently. And then I'm going to add to that some things that I'm concerned about. And then I've asked a special guest to come in and talk us through some things that I think will be of special interest.
And that is so interesting because it seems that we are in such an amazing and critical time in our country and in our history right now. Financially, I don't think there's been anything like this in our lifetime. Has there, Tim?
It really has been more of an exaggerated roller coaster than any of us have really seen. Interest rates are at historic lows, I know, for my lifetime, and I perceive really for the lifetime of Shell Point residents. And a few months ago, earlier in the summer, we had an event when the Federal Reserve Chairman, Mr. Bernanke, made a conversation that began to make people wonder whether interest rates were going to rise in the short haul rather than long term, and things began to happen in the bond markets that have impacted people's investments, in my case, retirement, in residents, their income, and their investment portfolio in ways that we haven't seen recently.
So these feelings of vulnerability, I'd like to focus on that a little bit because we're not just anybody. We're people at Shell Point, and we have a legacy foundation. Right. And we have Timothy Stephenson with some letters behind his last name. Let's talk about this. CHFC. What does that mean, Tim?
CHFC stands for Chartered Financial Consultant. If you do some exploring on the web, you'll find that it is defined as advanced financial planning. It's a credential offered by taking, when I took it, 10 courses through the American College. It's a fully accredited college in Bryn Mawr, Pennsylvania. Mm-hmm. At this point, it takes 9 courses to earn that, and it is a wide, broad spectrum of what it means to be a financial planner, basically.
And that's the value to us, isn't it? That we have somebody who's not really selling anything, right, who is there with a broad background, right, to help us look at these issues.
I would like to think it's helpful. Yeah. And so what we're going to do is we're going to take that kind of an approach. It's okay, this is the landscape right now. Right. So how do we live with confidence in the midst of this? And I think the best tools for that are understanding and partnership. So that we have some understanding at some level of what is causing these things. They don't happen in a vacuum. Mm-hmm. And I want to slow the pace of the conversation down. Sometimes when we have a seminar, I'll get a response that they would like to have dived a little deeper and gone a little slower. And so we're going to back up just a little bit in a couple of areas and just get a little more specific about some things that I think will help people have greater confidence in the days in which we're living.
That makes a lot of sense. It's a foreign language to some of us. It's something that we know a little bit about, but with you and your expertise and your special guests slowing down and giving us the time we need to absorb what you're trying to say.
That's what I'm hoping, and there will be ample time for Q&A, and we can discuss some of the things that may be on people's hearts. If people would like to submit questions prior, they can either email the Legacy Foundation at info@legacyshellpoint.org, or just call the office and leave a question, and we'll try and address as many of those as is possible. But then one of the things that I'm looking forward to is also introducing a special guest. I've asked attorney Kevin Kyle. Kevin has practiced here in town for over 20 years, but he, in the 6 years that I've been here, has not been hosted for a seminar. And I know there are a number of residents who know Kevin. I like Kevin for a number of reasons. I find Kevin easy to talk with. I find that he is wise and I might say a little laid back, and I enjoy that. And so what I've asked him to do is come without a big script for the day and just pull up a chair and talk with us about what it means to live in this increasingly legal and technical environment in which we live. And I think that'll be helpful to, again, provide understanding for some of the things that we see on a daily basis, and hopefully that'll be helpful.
As always, we are delighted that we have a legacy seminar every month in the Academy of Lifelong Learning. Join Tim Stephenson and his special guest Wednesday morning. All are welcome in the Grand Cypress Room at 10 o'clock. As always, please contact either service desk so they know how many to expect.
And speaking of finances, Dan is here to tell you how to get the most out of your money. Dan?
Thanks, Rochelle. The answer for how to get the most out of your money? Put it in a coffee can or underneath your mattress. But seriously, many of you have money in bonds and other conservative things, thinking that it's the safest option in a volatile market. But by avoiding the stock market altogether, you may actually be at a higher risk of losing money. At Finemark Bank, they advocate an approach called total return investing. Terry Bauer tells us all about it.
Hello, I'm Jessica Stillwell with Finemark National Bank and Trust, and today we're talking about different investment strategies. And one that's becoming more common, or one that we're talking about more, is a total return strategy. And here to talk with us about this and other strategies is Terry Bauer, Vice President and Private Wealth Advisor at Finemark. And Terry, thank you for joining us. And before we talk about the total return, I think a lot of investors over time have been more used to an income-oriented strategy. So can we start with that?
Certainly. Well, Jessica, what we've seen over the course of time is with interest rates, people have been able to look to primarily fixed income type investments, bond type investments, as being their source of income from their portfolio to augment the other sources they have, be it Social Security or pensions or whatever the case may be, to meet their living needs. Now, things have changed. We've gone from, high double-digit type returns we were seeing back in the early 80s down to virtually zero returns on a lot of CDs and money markets and things of this nature. And as a result, people have been asked and really forced to kind of change the way they look at their portfolio to generate the type of returns they need to maintain and to enhance their lifestyle.
And so looking at the different types, also looking more at the big picture, which is the total return strategy, and not just looking on getting the income off of the interest. So talk about that.
Certainly. Well, this really isn't something new, Jessica. We've seen a lot of foundations and endowments go to this as we've seen interest rates drop. Most of these groups have specific spending policies they have to meet. And when interest rates were high, that was very easy for them to accomplish. But as they've come down, it's been harder and harder to do it just off the income stream. And as a result, these groups and individuals now are taking a look at the whole portfolio, being willing to take off whatever income the portfolio generates, but also being willing to access some of the capital appreciation they've seen in the portfolio. As a result, portfolios tend to be more balanced, so that you're seeing fixed income investments there that do provide diversification and some income, but not afraid to take and also invest in equities and other growth-oriented securities, looking for that appreciation over time.
And it would seem like that if it's more diversified, I mean, just logic would tell you that that's probably safer over the long haul, or if things go bad, you're not going to get hit all at once, maybe.
Academic studies would suggest that. There's something called the modern portfolio theory that really suggests that a portfolio solely of bonds or fixed income investments carries higher risk than does one that has even just a small amount of equities included in it. But it really comes down to addressing the needs you have. What we've encouraged groups to do and people to do is to take a look at their history. That's just to take a look at their checkbook. And what has your requirement been the last 6 months, the last 12 months? And to look at that, recognizing what type of yield you're getting off your portfolio, and being willing to take and scrape off a little bit of that appreciation in a portfolio in order to meet that goal.
Do you find that makes investors nervous who are used to one way of doing things maybe for many years?
Sure.
What are you seeing? Because I know you talk to a lot of different people.
We do. And a lot of people at first wonder about that. They view it, the equity markets, as significantly more risky than the bond market. But in the environment we're in, and the way that we see the economy going forward, we would certainly expect to see more volatility in the fixed income markets. So I think there's an acceptance of considering this type of strategy more and more as we go forward.
So do you see any downsides, or I mean, is it all positive, or, I mean, obviously there's still risk.
There's still risk. Exactly. You know, the diversification is a big part of it. Being able to address inflation is a big part of it in this type of investment.
And how does inflation affect it?
Well, we've all read about low inflationary environment. 2% the government tells us. But I think we also recognize that a lot of the folks here at Shell Point are seeing a little bit higher inflation between healthcare costs, food costs, gasoline costs. Their costs are moving up more rapidly than perhaps the general economy is recognizing it. So by having some growth in the portfolio, you're able to address that as well. So it helps to take and address the future needs that you're going to recognize as well.
So what, in conclusion, advice would you give to someone who's now listening to this and thinking, maybe I need to make some changes?
Sure.
What would you advise them to do?
Well, number one, seek some counsel. Secondly, as I mentioned, try to get a feel for what your costs are, your day-to-day expenses are. And then I would say if they're, say, 5% and your portfolio is generating 3%, to set an overall return target for the entire portfolio of 5%, say, plus the rate of inflation, so that you're accounting for that and moving forward. Potential downsides to something of this nature is always the unforeseen. Be it in the markets, being in your personal life. That can change things around too. And as a result, you can't get married to the investments or to the strategy, but rather you have to be constantly reviewing the individual investments in the portfolio, considering your outlook for the markets and the economy going forward, and what your future needs may be from the monies that the portfolio generates.
All right, Terry Bauer, thank you so much. If you would like to talk with Terry, if you have any questions, you can call the bank on the island. Tiffany is there, and the number is 461-5999. Now, you're at our Riverwalk office, but I know that you're out at Shell Point quite a bit talking to people here, so you're a familiar face. If you're a client or not, we'd be more than happy to talk with you. So again, 461-5999. Terry, thank you so much.
Thank you.
I'm Jessica Stillwell with Finemark National Bank and Trust.
Now it's time to get a full report on today's happenings, followed by your Academy News, menus, and Village Church Connections.
Thank you for tuning in to the Happening segment of SPTV. I'm Mary Franklin along with Bev Chanley, and we're here to go over our list of activities for Tuesday, September 24th. We kick things off bright and early in the Health Club with Bend, Breathe, and Balance at 7:15 in the morning. All are welcome. At the tennis courts, the round-robin men's doubles tennis will be taking place at 8. And the Stamp Ministry volunteers will be gathering in the Stamp Room at 8:15. The bocce court will be really busy at 8:30 in the morning. Head on over if you like the game of bocce. And at 9 a.m., if you're signed up, we're heading out on the Susie Q for a dolphin and sightseeing tour. 9:15, you can join the open painting class in the art studio on the island, or the shuffleboard group on the shuffleboard courts right outside the Resident Activity Center. Match play mixed doubles tennis will start at 9:30, and at 10:15, Through the Bible study group will take place in the Osprey Room on the island. 11 o'clock is the time for the Susie Q to head out once again, and this time we're heading to Rum Runners for lunch. Sign up is required. Bev, what do we have this afternoon?
Well, Mary, we're going to start at 12:30 this afternoon. We have mixed progressive bridge. That'll be in the game room at the Woodlands. Also, we have a 1:15 knitters group in the Osprey Room. And those rollicking recorderists will be in the Tarpon Room at 1:15. And our last 1:15 activity is the Women's Ministries Prayer Group. They will be in the Hospitality Room at the Village Church. Now, at 1:30, the Stamp Ministry will be busy in the Sable Room of the Woodlands. 2:15, the library book talk will be at the Social Center on the island. Now we have a Health Connections class at 2:45. We have Balance and Mobility Training Level 2 in the Health Club, and that is currently full. Well, thank you for joining us today, and we will be back here again tomorrow.
Hello, I'm Terry Kolath with your Academy information for Tuesday. At 9 o'clock, our digital camera prep school continues in the Sable Room of the Woodlands. At 9:15, After Prep School Basics continues in the Computer Teaching Center on the island. At 10 o'clock, the Story of India in the Grand Cypress Room of the Woodlands, and sign-up is required. At 1 o'clock, we have Apple iPad Tips and Techniques in the Oak Room of the Woodlands, and sign-up is required. At 1:15, Designing and Making Greeting Cards with a Hallmark Program in the Computer Teaching Center on the island, sign-up is required. At 1:15, Appreciating Art on Your iPad continues in the Manatee Room at the island. Tomorrow we have a legacy seminar. Call it potpourri or call it hodgepodge. I'd like to take a moment to remind you that the Pavilion Auxiliary volunteer opportunities are numerous, and volunteering begins with orientation. The next orientation is Friday, September 27th from 9:15 till 11 in the hospitality room at the Village Church. After orientation, you'll be eligible to volunteer in a variety of opportunities. Hope to see you there.
Menus for Tuesday. In the Crystal Room, the Crystal Platter is Dijon chicken with wild rice pilaf, mushrooms, and peppers. For dinner, the special is Pan Fresh Night for $11.95, and the soup of the day is loaded potato. In the Island Cafe for lunch on Tuesday, enjoy a grilled chicken sandwich with special sauce and a side salad for $6.95. For dinner, it's your choice of a hamburger or a hot dog with potato salad and melon ice cream for $7.95. And the Palm Grill is closed until September 26th. All menus are available 24 hours a day at www.shellpoint.net.
Hi, Randy Woods here at Village Church Connections, and I am with two ladies that are particularly excited about an upcoming program, Karen Chamberlain and Eleanor Perkins. Thank you for joining me today. And tell me, what is this program that you two are so excited about, Karen?
Well, it's a Bible study called Missing Pieces.
Well, there are lots of Bible studies. Why is this one so exciting for you?
Well, it offers real hope when life doesn't make sense. And you know, it got its name because sometimes things happen in life. Like we say to God, are you really aware? Why do people suffer? Do you really care? And this, even though we know the right answers, this kind of takes chunks out of our faith, or missing pieces. And this Bible study that the Village Church women are going to have beginning October 8th is going to answer these questions.
And it sounds like those are some common questions that we all deal with in one way or another. So this will be a Bible study for who's invited? Eleanor, who can come to the Bible study?
Anybody that wants to. This is a women's ministry Bible study. We've never had a man ask to come, but I'm sure he wouldn't be turned away if they wanted to. So all women, and occasionally we have several women from outside the church who know about the Bible studies and they come. So all women are welcome to come and join us.
So all the ladies in the community are invited, and when will the Bible study take place? Karen, you said October?
October 8th, Tuesday, from 9:45 until 11:30, which will give everybody time at 11:30. We're going to promptly end so they can catch the 11:45 bus if they have to. So it's 3 Tuesdays in October, October 8th, 15th, and 22nd. And then we'll take a break, and we won't resume until February. And then we'll do 4 weeks in February.
So 3 weeks in the fall, 4 weeks in the spring. And Eleanor, how can the ladies sign up? If they would like to participate, how can they register?
We're going to have sign-ups at the church information desk beginning on Sunday, September the 15th. And then each Sunday, someone will be there if they want to sign up. If they want to do it during the week, like if they don't attend the Village Church, they may sign up at the church office. And then they can pick up their book. We have a wonderful book that goes along with it, like a study book. And so that's what they can do.
And as they register, they'll get the material. They'll have a copy for themselves so they can study and write in. Is there a cost associated with the Bible study?
The book is $15. And that'll cover both sessions, so that's all they need for the entire study, both in October and in February.
Great. Now, you two are very excited about this. And I could tell in talking with you, and you want everyone to be involved, this has been something that the Village Church ladies have worked many years and have hosted a Bible study. Eleanor and Karen, you both have been part of this. What do you expect as the ladies come together and share in the Bible study?
I think you're going to each woman will discover, as Karen and I and the other members of our committee did, that although she covers topics that we've all studied before, we've read scriptures about before, she covers it in a different way than I've ever experienced. She is an excellent Bible teacher. She also sings and plays the piano. But she has a way of presenting it that really touches you. With every one that I watched previewing them, I was not only personally touched, but I was spiritually touched by some part of it. And it's not that the subject matter is new. She just has a wonderful, fresh insight, and God has blessed her with a beautiful ability to connect to women of all ages.
I appreciate you saying that. When Karen and I were talking earlier, you mentioned her insight for the scriptures and the expression that she has from her own personal experience. But it's unusual that I understand she's blind. Tell us about the author, the one who is teaching, Jennifer.
Jennifer Rothschild. She became blind at 15. She got a rare retina disease, and in fact, she and her father and mother were at the doctor's office and were told that this was going to get worse. She would never recover, so that she would become almost completely blind. And she went home that day and she sat down at the piano and played "It Is Well With My Soul." And God has just gifted her for this ministry because she's uniquely qualified. She walks in the darkness, and so she shares the light in just a beautiful way, and you just can't help but. I mean, we are so excited because we love her already. I mean, it's just the way she teaches. She is such a real person.
So I understand that as you gather, there's not only the workbook and the discussion group, but there's a video that's part of the experience of the Bible study?
Yes, there's about a 25-minute video each day, and it's not a real long video because she doesn't have notes because she's blind, and all her scripture is memorized, and she is very scriptural. And after we have the video, we will break up into small groups and small discussion groups with facilitators and discuss the workbook and just how God has given us answers. Sometimes he doesn't always give us answers to questions, as she says, but he fills the missing pieces with himself. And so we'll get a more intimate relationship with God through this Bible study.
Well, it sounds like the perfect program starting in October. So for you and our community, be sure to come to the Village Church, sign up, give us a call, plan to be part of the Ladies Bible Study here in October, and join in this study of the missing pieces as we continue to grow together in the grace and knowledge of our Lord. Thank you, Eleanor and Karen, for being with me today and for sharing the joy and the excitement that you have, not only with me, but with our community. And we invite everyone to come and be a part of this joy and the excitement that you're sharing today.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
We're glad you joined us for today's show. Tune in tomorrow as Ruth Duber offers up a recipe for one of our local delicacies, Pine Island shrimp.
We'll also hear from Don Boren about LifeQuest, what it is, and why you should be part of it.
Until then, this is Shell Point Today for Tuesday, September 24th. I'm Rochelle Chernowski.
And I'm Dan Philgreen. From all of us here at Shell Point TV, we hope you have a great day. We'll see you again tomorrow.